Today I'll be showing you how to winterize your car for the upcoming winter. Let's get right into it. Today we'll be focusing on my paint. Now whenever you stand from afar, you start seeing that this truck looks amazing. But once you start getting up close, you can start seeing that I actually have imperfections in my truck, such as these bird droppings that has finally etched in. I also have water spots, and something happened over here where I have scratches, and I don't even know how that even happened. But today I'll be showing you how you should get rid of all of this, plus protecting your car for the upcoming winter. First things first, we already washed the car using clean slate. Second of all, I want to show you that my truck has a lot of contamination on it. So if I get close, you guys can hear all the contamination that is sitting on my truck. Now, how do I actually fix that? It's very simple. Use the OG clay bar. Now, I went with the OG clay bar because this truck gets a routine detail, gets a routine wash like every 2 weeks, and I'll be pairing it up using my clay luber. Now, before anything, for anybody that is new to our YouTube channel, whenever you get a Chemical Guys clay bar, it comes in a big bar. Now, should you use the whole entire bar? The answer is no. And obviously, whenever you do get a Chemical Guys clay bar, you always want to remove the plastic. You never want to get the plastic and start rubbing it all over. So remove the plastic. Put this on my detailing cart for right now. And then from this big bar, I'm actually just going to tear off a small portion. And you guys can see how elastic our clay bars are. That's one of my favorite things about them is you could remold it, you could re-knead it, and you could reuse it on many different types of cars as long as you do not drop it. And I still want to show you guys that this is like almost still a full bar compared to the piece I'm actually going to be using. Now this piece can actually do my hood, my fenders, around the whole entire car. As long as I do not drop it, I will start kneading out my clay bar into a 3-width finger. I like to use a 3-width finger because I feel like I have the most control. I'll get my clay luber, I'll spray directly onto my surface. And I like to be very generous with my clay luber, especially because I am gliding a clay bar across the surface of my paint. I do not want to install more scratches or swirls or marring. Now, whenever I am using a clay bar on the surface, you guys can start hearing the contamination onto the bar. But after a few passes, the surface starts to get a lot more smoother. And like this, I know exactly that my clay bar is doing its job. So you guys can hear if I get close, the contamination is getting pulled off. I'll respray if I need more lubricant. And I like to take my time whenever I'm cleaning a car, just so I can ensure I get all the contamination off the surface, because this is a big crucial step. Because what ends up happening is if you clay bar a car and you miss a spot, whatever your desire of protection that you want to apply onto the surface is not going to bond properly. So the prep is going to be a big key factor whenever it comes to winterizing your car. Now, after you're done doing one section, you get your clay bar, you remold it, and you continue with the same process around the car. You spray, you glide, and you wipe. Now let me just finish cleaning this side of this hood, and then I'll show you guys the finishing results I achieved just by using a clay bar. So we just finished wiping down the whole entire clay luber off the surface of my truck, and now it's time for the touch test. No contamination, contamination. No contamination, contamination. So now that the contamination is completely off of my truck, what's the next step? I want to get more shine, more protection, and I want a better result. So that's how I'll be going to my next step, which is going to be polishing. So I'll be putting my towel off to the side, and then I'll be getting my orange cutting pad. Now my orange cutting pad needs to be paired with a polisher, and today I'll be using the TORQX. Now the TORQX is a great polisher for any beginners or any professional or enthusiast that loves to polish your car and they want to get professional results. All you want to do is center your pad, spin it, make sure there's no type of blacking plate showing. Now that my TORQX is completely set up, next step is I'll be getting my P4 polish. Now my truck has light to medium scratches and swirls, and these heavier contaminations like that bird dropping, these water spots, needs something to be cut with, so I'll be using P4 polish. So all I'm gonna do is just shake up the product, open up the spout, and I'll be adding 5 dime-sized drops. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we recommend having 5 dime-sized drops because whenever your pad starts spinning, the product is going to suspend itself around the pad and you're not going to have any high spots, or you're not going to be producing more heat here compared to here. It's going to work evenly. Now, one other thing I recommend you guys do is get pad conditioner, spray two sprays of pad conditioner onto your pad. Now this is going to create more moisture, and like this you don't create any high spots on the surface of your car. And then you want to go to the surface of your car, start blotching it out. Now whenever I am polishing or working on a car, I always work in sections. For example, I'm not going to spread out this product around this whole entire hood. I'm going to do this section first, then I'll move on to that section, then that section, then that section. I like to break it up because like this, I cut accordingly and I will never have more scratch and swirls here. I'll have an even finish. So for all my beginner polishers, welcome to Polishing Class 101. Step number one is to put on speed setting 1 whenever you are using a dual action polisher. You're allowed to leave the machine on the surface of the paint and turn it on. On speed setting 1, all we're gonna do is just spread out the product. So like this, if I was to turn it on speed setting 6, I don't want it to splatter all over me. I don't want it to splatter all over you guys or the video guys behind me. So speed setting 1, turn on the machine and just spread it out. All right, turn it up to speed setting 6, and you're gonna start working into the product side to side, up and down until it turns clear or translucent. And then make sure your polishing pad is always flat. If you start noticing your pad start going like this, one thing that I recommend for you guys is get a Sharpie, put lines on your bagging plates. Anytime you start seeing the machine just go like this and it bogs down, that means either your pad is not flat or you're putting too much pressure. So just let the product do its job, work it in side to side, up and down. And anyways guys, let's get right into polishing. All right, so after you're done polishing, I always like to inspect my work. The reason being is you want to know either if your compound, your polish is doing its job, if you're getting the results you actually want before you start doing the whole entire hood. So always remember, rip off the tag off your microfiber towel. One of my favorite towels to use is a short pile towel on whenever I am working with glazes, sealants, waxes, or even a polish, because it's going to help me remove all the suspended products away from the surface of the paint a lot faster and easier. And wow, the sparkle on my truck is coming out. P4 is doing a tremendous job at removing the scratches and swirls. This is an amazing product, and right now I'm inspecting it and I'm actually liking how it's coming out. So I don't know if the camera could actually catch this. Luckily we are gonna have a line, but you start seeing that there's more shine here compared to over here. So I love the results I'm getting. All I'm gonna do now is just finish up this whole entire side of this hood, and then we'll be getting back to you guys to show you guys the finishing results and what's next. Step number 3, which is going to be adding some type of protection. I'll see you guys in a few. Next step is we're gonna be getting wipeout, and we're gonna start spraying down the surface of this hood. Now, what wipeout is going to do is going to remove any suspended oils or any type of protection that the truck might have. It's going to remove it further. So I'll spray it directly onto the surface, and then I will glide my clean microfiber towel across the surface of this hood, just so I can ensure I work in the product as well as remove any suspended oils. So wipeout is a must-do step before you apply any type of protection, because like I mentioned, this is going to remove any suspended oils left behind on the surface of this hood. Next up is going to be adding some type of protection to my truck. So instead of going with the ceramic, I'm going to be going with a synthetic polymer, which is going to be JetSeal. Now JetSeal is going to provide 12 months of protection. I personally love JetSeal on the surface of my truck because it's going to give it that wet look. Like, it's going to give it a fantastic look. I can't even explain it. You guys will see in the camera by itself. But luckily, I do have my TORQX on hand, so I'll actually be applying it with a machine. Let me get my TORQX from the bottom. Remove this pad. Put my black pad on here. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different. You're still going to be wanting to add 5 dime size drops, but 5 dime size drops is going to be able to cover half of my hood. All you want to do is dab 5 dime size drops on it, put your bottle off to the side, cord over shoulder, and then same exact thing, you'll blotch it out, but this one's going to cover the whole hood. After we finish blotching it out, next up is just time to spread out the product. So on speed setting 1, I'm just gonna turn on the machine, spread it out, let it sit for 15 minutes, then I'll come back and buff it off. So it's been 15 minutes. Next up, it is just time to remove JetSeal away from the surface. But since I did get brand new microfiber towels, I still have to remove the tag. I'll go off to the surface of the car and JetSeal comes off with no elbow grease. It's just like so fantastic. So here's one thing that a lot of people have reached out to us on social media. They say, hey, I applied this product and it's difficult removing it. Well, the reason why it might be difficult for it to be removing away from the surface of your car is because you might have contamination. Now, contamination is grabbing onto that product. Whenever you have no type of contamination, it comes off with no elbow grease. Like, I'm not even applying any type of pressure. All right, so now it is time to remove the tape away from the surface of the car. I'm peeling it. And wow, my truck has been through it. Now, this is what happens when contamination lands on the surface of your car, and now for the harmful winters, you still need to protect it. So we remove all the contamination that happened through summer. Now we are focusing on winter protection. So that's why I took these 3 steps to restore my paint back to black, and just like that, we restored it. So if you guys would like to pick up any of these products that I use in today's video, such as JetSeal, P4, TORQX, you can find that on our website on chemicalguys.com or at your local detail garage. I have work cut out for me. I have to finish that side of the hood, and hopefully you guys winter prep your car. So like this, we stay shining through the winter. We'll see you guys next time.